Many thanks for your company this afternoon on the Marketplace. Welcome back. The General Secretary of the Industrial and Commercial Workers Union, Solomon Kote, says the union is in talks with management of Coca-Cola Bottling Company to help address some grievances outlined by workers of the company. He says they are looking forward to bringing to conclusion the issue of the removal of the company's country director, Seth Ba Edu. She spoke with my colleague, Alberta Bisiu.
Members duly served us a petition, and the petition was looking at some 4 cardinal issues. The first one was they are not being too enthused about the top management deciding the withdrawal of the general manager. 2, they felt they have some outstanding issues relating to the salary structure, some issue on their Z2 gains, and then finally their bonus for 2019. As a responsible union, we engaged the management. We heard the side of management story, and in fact they admitted all the issues, and they said they will begin to walk the talk in terms of those demands that have been made. For example, as we speak now, management is in the process of having a deba and then address the issues one after the other. And as a national union, we think we are collaborating together in this particular struggle with our members to ensure that at the end of the day, sanity and harmony comes back to Coca-Cola. We have had 2 separate meetings, and I can say all the meetings were fruitful because the concerns that the workers raised, management is willing to address them. The proactive attitude of the National Union, the ICU, and the way we've had discussions with management, we believe maybe by the close of the day, we should be able to get some solution that will satisfy both parties.
Now, military men are noted for mental toughness and discipline, which happen to be very essential tools for business as well. Perhaps the reason why some corporate institutions occasionally organize military training exercises for its staff. Well, to prepare them similarly for the business world, the 2020 cohort of the Cosmos Innovation Center Agritech Challenge spent a week at the Shire Hills Army Recruit Training School. Karen Dodu was with them on their mountain climbing experience, and now brings this report.
Over the past 5 years, the Cosmos Innovation Center Agritech Challenge has churned out about 15 successful startups in the agriculture value chain. Over a 10-month period, the young entrepreneurs are coached to create tech-based businesses to solve problems. In the end, the 2 most outstanding businesses are awarded a seed capital of $50,000 each. It's another year, and a new batch of young agriculture enthusiasts have qualified for the 5th edition. Day 1 saw 125 successful applicants converge at the KIC Hub in Accra. They were anxious and eager to get on the bus to find out what awaited them at the boot camp. Programs Director of the Cosmos Innovation Center, Benjamin Jankese, explains the rationale behind the boot camp.
Over the past 4 years, we decided that we're going to expose our entrepreneurs to this military discipline. Learning discipline, time management, learning how to work in teams, learning how to craft our strategy, learning how to deal with inefficient team members, learning how to lead, how to be led and follow instructions, learning how to, in all things, how to keep your sanity and how to identify threats, opportunities, and so forth and so on. So we felt that building this relationship would be very good for us and bringing our entrepreneurs year on year.
After the registration and a briefing on safety tips, they were set to go. The Army Recruits Training School, located in Shire Hills for the next 6 days, was going to be their place of abode to train them mentally and physically for the tasks ahead to be entrepreneurs. The recruits were welcomed by their course captain, Captain Gabriel Abugui, who gave them a briefing of what to expect during their stay at the training school.
Now, over the period or within the period, if you have any issues, any peculiar issues, and you think that I should know about, don't hesitate to let me know. Is that clear? Yes. If you have any medical issues, private issues, anything that you think that I should know about, please let me know.
Right from the first morning, the KIC Agri-Techies had to adjust their usual morning routine as they were waking up as early as 4 a.m. to engage in some physical training. As the slogan of the recruit school goes, hard training, easy battle. And that's exactly what these recruits were in for. Several days of different physical exercises, obstacle courses, and even some safety training on how to fire a rifle. The most intriguing part for these recruits was a night spent in the bush, the night adaptation, all in a bid to train them on surveillance and endurance. Here, they got to appreciate the work of the military personnel.
I'm enjoying it in that this is a brand new experience. I've never thought I'll go and lie in someone's open field like this. So I'm really enjoying it, and I'm learning a whole lot. That in everything, it doesn't matter what you're used to. In everything, choose life first. So we are lying here because we want to save our lives.
I'm not scared, and it's a very nice experience, and it's a lesson for entrepreneurs. If you are moving in that road, that journey which is quite, one would say, controversial in its nature, you need the people who can back you, who can support you, who can give you the morale, people who are ready to die for you.
Just as was done for the recruits from the 2019 edition, the Agri-Techies were given the chance to visit Mount Cloem, also within the Shire Sudoku district. The trip up and down the mountain was estimated to be 4.5 kilometers. After several days of physical training, these recruits felt no mountain was too great to surmount. With vim and bottles of water, they started their journey in a single file. However, 20 minutes into the 2-hour journey, and some could not take the exhaustion.
Angela, you can do it.
After several careful steps, sips of water, and hundreds of stops, they finally made it to the summit, an accomplishment they would never forget.
How are you feeling? I'm feeling great. It's been a nice experience, though I thought I couldn't do it, but then ever since I started, I'm saying that I'm going. I'm on track, sir.
It was a bit difficult. At a point, it's very okay, like you can walk a bit. But when you get to some point, it's very steep. Then my ear will be burning like fire, so I just put water on it. But I didn't drink water.
I was wondering if I could even reach the top, like if I can even make it. But I'm happy I've been able to reach the top, and at least I'm happy I'm here. It's my first time though. I've never climbed any mountain before, yeah.
The trip to Mount Cloem was not only meant to entertain them, but to teach them a lesson on perseverance in life.
So this part of the whole training is basically to push them to test their endurance. You know, climbing this mountain, I told them initially that it's like life. The higher you go, the more difficult it becomes. But it doesn't mean that you have to stop. It doesn't mean that you get to go back. You can only move forward. So this is more of, it signifies life as a whole. For them as investors, as small business owners, and as entrepreneurs. You meet challenges on the way, but the ability to surmount those challenges is what we are looking for. So that is why we took them through this exercise, for them to be able to test themselves and to prove to themselves that they can really do it. And they all made it up here. That's the joy of it all.
When they were not on field, the Agri-Techies were in the classroom, getting lessons on topics on military training such as time management, leadership and teamwork. Lieutenant Colonel Lawrence Deku of the Army Recruits Training School explains how the recruits can incorporate the training in their businesses.
These things are taught in renowned universities. For example, Harvard Business School teaches Sansu's Art of War. because most of the principles that were alluded to by Sun Tzu as far back as 2,000 years are still applicable to businesses today. In whatever venture they want to do, they should be disciplined. They should learn the ethical way of doing business. The ethical way or the right way of doing things will always stand the test of time.
Country manager of Cosmos Energy Ghana, Joe Mensah, paid a visit to the campus. This time around, he was pleased with the improvement with the number of female participants in the competition.
And I see the enthusiasm in the people and the fact that several of them have experienced some, entrepreneurial activity before coming here. So it's quite exciting. Over the years, we have struggled to get a good balance. And now 40% of the people are going to end up being like women, which is quite exciting. We had a special boot camp to really go out there and seek and solicit to find, women to participate. And the numbers here gives me a warm feeling that, in fact, we will. And as I said earlier in my speech, that I'm always very biased when it comes to women participation, because I personally feel that if we have more women in position of leadership, this world will be a better place. So I'm excited.
At the end of the entire week, it was obvious that the decision to enroll in this competition is one that these young people will never regret.
This has been one of the best and the great programs I've attended so far. With regards to the courses they are taking us through, there are courses that are really going to have an impact in our life, that are going to change our lives positively. Even as to whether if you don't go through the final selection process, but the little knowledge you have will push you to do something on your own, and later on you give testimonies about it.
One interesting thing is that you realize that you wake up very early, so the day is very longer for you. But unlike when we are in our comfort zone, you can sleep, you wake up the time you like, and then before you realize you have not done so much at the end of the day. But here you realize that you wake up so early, so you are properly managing time and being productive and doing what you're supposed to do.
So as a young entrepreneur, I think this is one of the best boot camps you could ever have, because the soldiers teach us how to endure, and they constantly tell us that pain is a state of our mind. So we are taught how to push away that mind of pain and just endure till we get what we want to do. And it's going to really help us in our business and entrepreneurial lives, because at every time in life there'll be an obstacle that you need to overcome, and you need endurance to go over each obstacle that life throws at you.
I've learned a lot, the issue about discipline. I've learned a lot about discipline, as in waking up early, trying to push in for whatever you want. They believe that you can do anything, but you just need to endure as an entrepreneur. So going home, for me, in this challenge, I've learned a lot, taking the disciplinary aspect with me and the endurance aspect. And then also my expectation is to be able to learn a lot out of this KIC thing, because this orientation has actually opened my mind. And for me, this is something that Ghana should really applaud.
Although it was an enlightening experience for all, this may be the end of the journey for some, as there will be an eviction before the next stage, the market research. For Joy Business, Karen Doe.
Obviously, a very good exercise indeed. It's still live on the marketplace. We're taking a short break here. More news coming up. Many thanks for staying. Welcome back. Now, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta is attributing the Eurobond oversubscription to high investor confidence within the economy. Government finally managed to raise the projected $3 billion in London yesterday at the end of its Eurobond road show. This was after it received almost $15 billion in bids from investors. This represents 5 times more than the targeted amount. Speaking to Joy Business in Bloomberg in London at Bloomberg, Ken Ofori-Atta noted government will prudently use the funds raised. Let's get more details on this Eurobond sale from my colleague George Rafi, who has also been speaking with the finance minister after the issue. George, can you walk us through the whole process of this particular
Well, I would say that understanding this whole Eurobond issue, I mean, government wants to raise money from investors outside the country and sometimes even stretches to those locally. So first, you have to go out there and tell investors, why do you need this money? How strong is your economy? What measures have you put in place to ensure that if I lend you this money, we are fair, you'll be able to pay it back over the period? Because these are more of long-term borrowing. So you need to give these investors some assurance. All these assurance documentation is captured in what they call the prospectus. So you go around doing the roadshow where you go and engage these investors, and because you may not appreciate the market better, you have to put in place somebody to lead government or sponsor this whole exercise. And that's why they brought on board JP Morgan's, Standard Chartered Bank and the Standard Bank to help them in engaging these, because they appreciate the market better and they know the financial institutions and the amount of money that they would want to lend to government. So they go out, do this exercise, do this roadshow, engage all these investors out there. When they end that roadshow, now they open what they call the price guidelines and tell investors that, okay, we need X amount of money from you. Now this is the interest or the expected interest that will pay to you if you lend maybe $1 billion to us. And that exercise happened in London yesterday. They gave that price guideline, and then these bids started coming in. We got about $15 billion in terms of bids, because everybody would bring in X amount of money, but at what price? So someone would say that we have to, I'll give you maybe $2 billion at about maybe 7% or 9%. It is then government's right to decide that, okay, I would also take this money, but at that price. And that process finally ended in London yesterday. The minister said, okay, we will do what we call tranches. First was about around 6, 14, and 41. But in all these tranches that you're raising the money, you have to decide on what interest that you pay on this bond. And that's why they did somewhere around 6%. That will be the lowest that we are paying on a 6-year paper we are paying.
All right, so you've also been speaking with Ken Furiata. What has he been telling you?
Well, he's been talking about their commitment. We've had instances in the past in terms of reported news where we raised these funds and we didn't direct it to the required areas that are supposed to direct these funds. If you go through the prospectus, you get the understanding that government is trying to use this money to repay certain debts that are mature. And also, the energy sector debt, part of that, this money raised is also going to go to that sector. And also, some infrastructure projects in the budget. Don't forget that the minister has announced that this year will be the year of roads. So the argument here is that, are we getting his full commitment to ensure that this $3 billion are going to be advanced to these areas? And that was the commitment he also gave. He also walked us through what he felt like when the exercise actually opened in London. And he was shocked in terms of when the bids started coming in, because going into this offer, he was worried about, again, concerns raised about the timing, development in U.S. market, and even the coronavirus as well, and how investors might react. But when the bids started coming in again, he was surprised, and he thought that maybe it's more of a confidence, a sign of confidence in the long-term prospect in the economy. Because don't forget that these investors are not looking at the situation now. These are money spread over 6 years, 7 years. So how is the economy going to look like 10 years from now? And will you be in a better position to pay this money back? And for him, he thinks that these investors are kind of satisfied with what this government is doing in terms of the prospect for the economy. And that is why he thought that the bond actually was subscribed by more than about 5 times, actually.
That's impressive. Thank you very much, George Rafi, for that update. Now, Commissioner for the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Colonel Kwedu Damwa, has allayed fears the country could incur judgment debts as it brings on board a new system to take over operations of post-clearance at the country's ports. According to him, even though the contract for GCNet and West Blue is yet to expire, there has been a provision for termination clause which will ensure the government won't incur any debts. The Commissioner was answering questions from the media in a sensitization workshop on the Unipass system, from where my colleague Ebenezer Sabuti is joining us on phone for some updates. Good afternoon, Eben. Welcome.
All right, good afternoon.
All right, so what else? I mean, what else can you tell us from the workshop?
Now, briefly, what the commissioner sought to say is that, yes, many people are complaining that the West Blue contract and the GCNet contract has not expired yet. For the best of our knowledge, it has about a year or two before it gets expired. And government is going ahead with this Unipass system. So this Unipass system is a kind of courier system that they are introducing into the country's port, where it will enhance revenue generation at the country's clearance port, that's the Tema port, the Takoradi port, Aflao port, and other ports where goods are being received. And he was trying to say that there's not going to be any issue of judgment there, because in the contract there could be some termination clauses, which would mean that if along the line one party is not satisfied with any service, there's the need for a re-engagement or an exit of the contract. So it's allaying the fears of Ghanaians or anybody who may think that government is going to incur debt as a result of this new system that they are bringing on board.
All right, so when exactly is this new system, the Unipass, taking off?
So per the explanation given by the Deputy Minister for Finance, Kwaku Kwasing, the system is supposed to be ready by the end of this month, which they will roll it out. But at the moment, they are doing training programs for some of the customs officials and then also other stakeholders in the port clearing industry. They also mentioned the fact that they'll be doing a pilot program at the Takoradi Airport, which will begin sometime next week.
All right, many thanks for that update, Ebenezer Sabote, bringing us up to speed with the latest on the introduction of a new port clearance system, the Unipass. And on that note, we wrap up this afternoon's edition of the Marketplace. Many thanks for having you on board. My name is Emmanuel Boaji. Have a good afternoon.